Dr. Bev, I need your help. I have an exceptional employee who's been with me a long time and has always done wonderful work. Unfortunately, she's going through a rather nasty divorce and a bad custody battle, and it's beginning to show at work. She's a little absent-minded, and she's taking her home problems here in the office and making some mistakes. What should I do?
That's a really good question, Beth, and wouldn't it be nice if people really could leave those personal problems at the door like we ask them to, but that's not the way humans are. What's going on inside us really goes with us everywhere, and that includes to work. And so sometimes those personal problems do show up in the workplace in terms of productivity or teamwork, the lack of which, or making mistakes, or just really being distracted, maybe spending too much time on personal calls. All of those things do impact workplace productivity and performance. So it's important, as you've said, that we really do need to know what to do when someone's experiencing a personal problem. So I want to share some tips with you about that. First, balance empathy with the bottom line. It's important that you show the person that you really care about them, and not just care about the bottom line, but that you care about them as a person. But on the other hand, as a manager, you still have the organization's goals to think of. And it's really not doing the person any favors to let their performance really take a nosedive during this time. So be there as an empathetic and caring person, but at the same time, keep a focus on those organizational goals. Because what you're going to have to do when you talk to the person is talk to them about how this problem may be impacting their performance. It's not your desire or your goal to really be a therapist or try to counsel them about their problems. That's not a good thing to do, actually. But instead, be there for them in terms of how the bottom line goes. And don't forget to ask them what they really need from you at this time, and maybe if any adjustments need to be made on a short-term basis in their work requirements. Another thing that you can do is really talk to them about how normal it is to be on an emotional roller coaster right now, especially if they're going through a major crisis in their life, because people can start to think that they're really going crazy, and they're not trying to be difficult, they're not trying to be a bad employee, they're just distracted. And so if, for example, they're making too many personal phone calls on the job, and you can understand why they might, you might want to even do a little flexing in their work schedule to give them time to take care of those personal errands and phone calls and things that they have to do sometimes when a crisis is going on. And don't forget, if you have an employee assistance program or what's called an EAP, then think about referring them to that to help them get their own personal problems back on track. Or if you don't have an EAP, I'm sure that there are psychologists or other mental health professionals in your community, or even financial advisors or legal advisors, things that they need in a practical way to deal with what's going on in their lives. Now, there are a couple of don'ts, and I've kind of alluded to one of those, and one is don't try to be a therapist. This is very important as a manager, because if you become their confidant and they share all the things that are going on with you, and you try to be a counselor to them, but then you have to come back and talk about performance, or even maybe give them some negative feedback about their performance, they're going to feel a little betrayed. And that's just not your role. It's not what you're trained to do, first of all, but it's also just not your role. Your role is to be a supportive coach, but to focus on job performance. And the other thing not to do is don't give them really high profile or highly emotional kinds of tasks during this time. Do make some job accommodations so that they can do what they're capable of doing with this level of concentration and distraction, and they have a little bit of relief on some of those pressures that they're going through right now. So I hope those things have been helpful to you in terms of dealing with someone who's going through personal problems. Thank you for being with us today on the Magnetic Workplaces Show. And we welcome your questions about any kind of workplace issue. Feel free to send those to us at Bev Smallwood, BEVSMALLWD, at AOL.com. or visit our website, which is www.drbevsmallwood.com. That's Dr. No period, BEVSMALLWOOD.com, where you'll find many free resources, articles, other things to help you in terms of making your workplace magnetic. We'll see you next time.